Thank the member, and recognize the member from New Westminster.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and I'm pleased to have the opportunity to speak to the motion that government has a responsibility to make life more affordable for BC families, because the fact of the matter is that British Columbians are paying more for health care and they're getting less. We see that and we hear that every day with longer wait lists, with families not being able to find family doctors. I'm bombarded with emails and phone calls literally every day. But it never fails to astound me, Honourable Speaker, to hear members opposite repeating the mantra about this government having lowered taxes when, in fact, people are being hit with fare hikes and fee hikes and everywhere they look. And, Honourable Speaker, a tax hike by any other name is still a tax hike. And the fact is people are paying more for health care and they're getting less. The government brags about controlling costs in health care, but frankly, they've just shifted the responsibility for those health care costs onto individuals and onto families. We've spoken on many occasions about the hikes in MSP premiums already, a 100% increase since the BC Liberals were elected in 2001. MSP for a family has now reached $1,728. And while members opposite can talk over and over again about those people in our province who are able to get subsidies or who are able to get premium assistance, the fact of the matter is that there are an awful lot of people on modest incomes and middle incomes for whom MSP premiums really hurt. And it is also the flattest tax imaginable, certainly the most regressive form of taxation that there is, Honourable Speaker. But it's not just MSP. I think it's important to look at this government's record of delisting various healthcare services, which means that individuals and families pay more. One good example of that is out-of-pocket eye exams, which can cost a family several hundred dollars a year. And physiotherapy, Honourable Speaker, we have thousands of people in this province who have hip surgery or knee surgery every year, and the rehab that follows that with physiotherapy is absolutely critical. It used to be covered. Now what happens is you have your hip replaced, you get 3 coupons for physiotherapy. 3 coupons, Honourable Speaker, when in fact you ought to see a physiotherapist twice a week for at least 3 months. Who pays for that? Well, if you're lucky enough to have a good health insurance, private health insurance plan, you're covered. An awful lot of families don't. They either pay thousands of dollars for private physiotherapy or they go without. Pharmacare deductibles have went up in 2003. For families and individuals under 65, deductibles rose from $600 to $800 for those who qualify for premium assistance and from $800 to $1,000 for those who do not. And lack of affordability, frankly, means that people are forced to make unacceptable choices. And for many seniors, for many families, they make choices about essentials. They make choices about the quality of food that they're able to put on the table or whether they're going to be able to pay for their prescription drugs. And yet this government made the choice of a tax break of totaling $236 million for the top 2% of the population. And what about our seniors, Honourable Speaker? Residential care rates went up in 2010 and 2011, requiring seniors to pay 80% of their after-tax income on care fees and making British Columbia's daily care rates the most expensive in Canada. So we can talk all we want about controlling healthcare costs and about lowering taxes. The reality is that seniors are paying more, that British Columbia families are paying more. These are people who have spent their entire lives contributing to our community, our province, and our society, and yet they have a meager amount of money left over, if any at all, after they pay the residential care fees. A senior, for instance, with a before-tax income of $22,000 will be forced to pay almost another $2,000 a year for long-term care since those major hikes came into effect. Honourable Speaker, this government does have a responsibility to make life more affordable for British Columbia families, and shifting the burden of healthcare spending onto individual families either means that families go without or they pay far, far more. So the members opposite can repeat the mantra over and over and over again, as they do in response to anyone who raises these issues from the official opposition, in response to any of those BC families who raise concerns about affordability, about having lower tax rates, lower tax rates. The reality is, when you're paying more for health care and getting less, you're making life less affordable for British Columbia families.